In Ecuador, opposition movement Citizen Revolution Party denounced an explosive attack during a campaign event in the province of El Oro. In France, violent clashes with the police broke out in different municipalities after a security officer killed a 17-year-old teenager. And millions of Muslim faithfuls celebrate worldwide Eid Al-Adha, a three-day holiday commemorating the readiness of Ibrahim to sacrifice his son. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Ecuador on Tuesday, militants of the opposition movement Citizen Revolution Party denounced having suffered an explosive attack during a campaign event in the province of El Oro, located in the extreme southwest of the nation. The detonation took place on Tuesday night when a crowd was gathering in a party office that was being inaugurated in the city of Guayaquil in support of the presidential candidate Luisa González and the vice presidential candidate Andrés Araúz. According to preliminary reports, the explosion did not cause any fatalities or injuries, and the event was resumed minutes later. The attack against the opposition coalition to the government of President Guillermo Lasso takes place within the framework of the campaign for the early presidential elections to be held next August 20th. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Luis Suarez, chief of Guayaquil's police district, informed that judicial police is gathering information and verifying cameras in the area to find those responsible for the incident.
According to reports from citizens, a strong explosion took place here in front of the tourist area. We went to verify entering inside a political meeting where we made contact with people who reported that they had thrown an object that exploded, but no evidence could be found at the site, and we only have people's versions, but we cannot deny that it was an attack because the corresponding reports had been filed.
In Brazil, the investigating judge found Jair Bolsonaro guilty in the second hearing of the trial held on Tuesday against the former president at the Superior Electoral Court. Judge Benedito Gonçalves found that Bolsonaro used his position as head of state to degrade the electoral environment, incite a state of collective paranoia, and fabricate conspiracy theories with false information and outrageous lies. So he voted in favor of disqualifying him for 8 years. With the first vote in favor of Bolsonaro's disqualification, the trial was suspended and will resume on Thursday with the analysis of the other 6 magistrates that make up the electoral court. If found guilty, Bolsonaro may lose his political rights for the next 8 years and would not be able to run in the next presidential elections in 2026. In Argentina, a massive demonstration was held in the province of Jujuy to demand salary increases and reject the constitutional reform imposed by Governor Gerardo Morales. Thousands of demonstrators participated in a torchlight march in San Salvador de Jujuy, organized by teachers from different levels of the Provincial Teachers Association. A strike for an indefinite period of time is being held by this sector to demand a salary adjustment and against the constitutional reform that intends to move forward on indigenous lands to exploit lithium. In addition, during the day, the National Secretariat of Human Rights asked the Federal Justice to initiate an urgent criminal investigation on the repression committed by Jujuy's security forces. Energy production in western regions of Canada has been seriously affected by wildfires that broke out 2 months ago in the country's westernmost province of British Columbia. The province is rich in energy resources, accounting for some 35% of Canada's natural gas production, as well as 2% of its crude oil production. According to data released by S&P Global Commodity Insights, a provider of energy and commodities information, in the first 4 months of the year, the average daily production of natural gas in Canada was over 500 million cubic meters, but affected by the wildfires, the figure had dropped to around 100 million cubic meters in late May. The fires have also occasionally hindered hydroelectric facilities, which accounts for the vast majority of British Columbia's electric production. In the United States on Wednesday, officials warned that some 92 million people remain on alert for poor air quality caused by smoke from Canada's wildfires. It is the second time in 3 weeks that smoke from Canada's southward-moving wildfires has caused air quality problems in several states. Ohio state health and government officials joined bordering states to respond to the emergency. There are currently 490 active wildfires in Canadian territory, of which 255 are considered out of control. In view of the situation, authorities are calling on residents to take precautions due to the harmful effects of the smog, limiting their time outdoors as much as possible. According to the Canada Interagency Forest Fire Center, the record area burned in a single year was surpassed by 76,129 square kilometers of forest and other lands. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. All the stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. In France, violent clashes with the police broke out in the municipality of Nanterre after a security officer killed a young man. At least 24 people were arrested after riots broke out during the Tuesday afternoon and evening. Paris, Nantes, Marseille, Bordeaux, Colmar, among other towns, also experienced protests. On Monday, a French police officer shot in the abdomen a 17-year-old teenager who had refused to stop his car at a checkpoint in the municipality of Nanterre. Authorities said the police officer has already been arrested. Local media reported that some 20 police officers received minor injuries during the clashes, while 25 vehicles were destroyed and several administrative offices were set on fire. On Wednesday in Marseille, Emmanuel Macron described as inexplicable and inexcusable the death of a teenager.
I would like to express the emotion of the entire nation at what has happened and the death of John Nahel, and to tell his family of our solidarity and the affection of the nation. We have a teenager who has been killed. It is inexplicable, inexcusable, and first of all, these are words of affection, shared sorrow and support for his family and loved ones. Secondly, the case was immediately referred to the courts. I hope that it will carry out its work quickly, of course, with the calm that its work requires, and that the truth can be established as soon as possible, and that, of course, we are all informed and that justice is done.
On Wednesday, the government of Belarus reiterated readiness to cooperate with modernization in key sectors of the Russian economy. President of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, assured that his government has prepared many different projects aimed at various sectors of the economy, such as agriculture, construction, engineering, food industry, and others. The Belarusian leader said that the basis for social development is the economy, which serves as a basis for the development of cooperation with Moscow. Lukashenko stressed the need for the creation of inter-regional trade, transport, logistics corridors, as well as the promotion of joint ventures to contribute to the modernization of key sectors of the Russian economy. Pope Francis' peace envoy, Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, began the second stage of his mission in Moscow, Russia, on Wednesday. According to the press service of the Holy See, the trip will last until June 29th, and it aims to make a humanitarian contribution to the search for a way out of the current conflict between Russia and Ukraine. As part of his visit, Cardinal Zuppi participated in the service in the main Catholic cathedral in Moscow. Previously, Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, president of the Italian Bishops' Conference and Archbishop of Bologna, visited Kiev in early June to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and religious figures as part of the Vatican's efforts to solve the conflict peacefully. China's government reiterated its willingness to coordinate the promotion of renewable energies with Russia. During a speech at the 7th Eastern International Oil and Gas Industry Forum, China's Consul General Piao Jianfan stressed that her country has made an intensive energy transition to green and low-carbon energy over the past decade. The diplomat also explained that the installed capacity of renewable energies in China can generate over 1 billion kilowatts. The Consul General of the Asian Power affirmed that Beijing is willing to work with Moscow to jointly contribute to sustainable development. The Chinese and Vietnamese navies began a two-day joint patrol in the Beibu Gulf waters on Wednesday, according to the Chinese military. It is the 34th joint patrol in the Beibu Gulf waters following the two countries signing off an agreement in 2005 on joint patrol in that region. As part of the mission, each nation deployed two naval vessels and guided missile frigates to conduct a joint search and rescue drill. The drills came after Chinese President Xi Jinping hosted Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh in Beijing to mark the 15th anniversary of the establishment of the China-Vietnam Comprehensive Strategic Cooperative Partnership. Philippine authorities on Wednesday detained more than 2,000 people during a raid on several buildings in Manila, where trafficking victims were paid to recruit players for online games. According to police information, Chinese, Indonesian, Vietnamese, Singaporean, Malaysian, Pakistani, Cameroonian, Sudanese, Myanmar, and Philippine nationals were among the people found inside a compound in the capital. Meanwhile, Captain Michelle Sabino, spokeswoman for the Anti-Cybercrime Unit, added that authorities were interviewing the detainees to identify who was a victim or a suspect. International concern has been growing over internet scams in the Asia-Pacific region, often staffed by trafficking victims, tricked or coerced into promoting bogus crypto investments. And TeleSUR English launched its own videos on demand site for you to go and revisit our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Just go to the top left corner in our website homepage and click on the video option to access our VOD platform, where you can even revisit this news brief. Now we'll have a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. The second ship carrying crude oil from Russia arrived at Karachi Port Trust in Pakistan on Wednesday. The second shipment came just 2 weeks after the arrival of the first Russian oil ship carrying over 45,000 tons of crude at Pakistan's financial capital. According to Karachi Port Trust spokesperson Tariq Amin Faruqi, the second ship, named Clyde Noble, is carrying over 54,000 metric tons of crude oil. Faruqi further added both shipments have been delivered to Pakistan Refinery Limited, where it is being refined. Pakistan signed an agreement with Russia recently to buy crude oil in a move to diversify its oil import sources.
The ship named Clyde Noble has brought Russian crude oil. Earlier, a ship Pure Point had arrived at OP2 berth. This is the second ship. It has brought 54,114 metric tons crude oil, as happened previously. This time the crude oil will be delivered to Pakistan Refinery Limited. So far, 16,000 metric tons has been discharged. The operation began last night.
Saudi Arabia remains focused on its decision to cut its production of crude oil by 10% to try to boost prices. According to a report by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, the Saudi nation plans to reduce its daily crude oil production by 10% next July to reach 9 million barrels. It further highlighted the oil cuts would be the lowest since 2011, meaning that Saudi Arabia would have less than 6 million barrels a day for exports, with the United States and Europe as its main destinations. The report also stated that most of the Saudi oil will be allocated to Asian countries, given the agreements in place, so the action affects the supply to Western countries and forces them to look for other options and energy markets. Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio was re-elected with 56.17% to serve a second term. The head of the Electoral Commission announced the election results on Tuesday, following a process disputed by the opposition. The re-elected president's main challenger, Samura Kamara, came second with 41.16% of the votes. On Monday, the opposition All People's Congress condemned in a statement an alleged lack of inclusiveness, transparency, and responsibility by the Electoral Commission. EU observers reported that a lack of transparency and communication by the Electoral Authority led to mistrust in the electoral process. The monitors added they witnessed violence at 7 polling stations during voting hours and at 3 others during the closing and counting stages.
This country, Madabio has provided for us the free quality education, He has constructed so many bridges for us, and he is fighting the corruption in the country. So because of that, I like him. That is the reason why I voted for him. So I'm happy today. He has won the election. So I'm so happy. I'm very much excited. I really don't know what to say.
President Bio was selected the president of Sierra Leone. I'm happy right now. I'm happy right now. So can do. We are talking do. We are not talking friend. We are talking do.
African leaders and officials from several regional organizations met in Angola on Tuesday to discuss the security of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. President of the African Union considered that the deteriorating situation in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo destabilizes the country and defended efforts to make the nation a source of joy and not of conflict. Azali Assoumani said that the prevailing situation is a concern of the region, continent, and the rest of the world. Also, as a function of the African Union, the destabilization in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo could lead all of Africa down the same path, thus advocating the intensification of joint actions to reach solutions in favor of a peaceful and prosperous country.
It is widely acknowledged that all the organizations present here have the same mission, that is clearing the Great Lakes region of a conflict, where is delaying national development plans and consequently jeopardizing the much sought-after agenda of regional and continental integration.
On Wednesday in Sudan, Muslims gathered for Eid Al-Adha prayers in Port Sudan as the armed conflict continued between the forces of Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his former Deputy Sudanese Revolutionary Armed Forces Commander Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo. On Tuesday, the eve of the Muslim holiday of Eid al-Adha, clashes erupted in the Sudanese capital after paramilitaries seized Khartoum's main police base. However, on Wednesday, Sudan's warring parties declared a ceasefire on the first day of Eid al-Adha. Sudan has a population of about 42 million and 71% of the population is Muslim. The war in Sudan has killed nearly 2,800 people across the country and uprooted some 2.8 million. The celebration of Eid al-Adha may vary according to moon sightings in different parts of the world, but Eid al-Adha 2023 is predicted to begin at sunset on Wednesday 28th and will be celebrated for 3 days. And in the early hours of Wednesday, crowds of Muslim faithfuls gathered in Saudi Arabia took part in the last ritual of the Hajj, the stoning of the devil. After spending the day on Mount Arafat, the pilgrims headed to a desert plain called Muzdalifah to collect pebbles to use it in the ritual of Mina. At dawn, hundreds of thousands of worshippers began throwing stones at the 3 concrete monoliths representing the devil, the last great ritual of the pilgrimage held under extreme heat. The stoning of the devil marks the beginning of the feast of Eid al-Adha, or celebration of sacrifice, when Muslims buy and kill animals to commemorate Ibrahim's willingness to kill his son. Meanwhile, at the Holy Al-Aqsa Mosque in Palestine, some 100,000 worshippers attended the Eid morning prayer, which kicks off the sacrificial celebration. Local sources report that the Israeli police, after the end of the prayer, stormed the sacred Muslim premises and expelled the worshippers who remained in the sacred site, in addition to arresting several Palestinians. And some 200,000 Muslim worshippers flocked to Moscow's Free Mayor Mosque on Wednesday to celebrate Eid al-Adha, also known in Russia as Kurban Bayrami. Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated the country's Muslim faithful and stressed that the holiday reaffirms the ideals of kindness, mercy, and justice in society. We have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.